Welcome to Book Reviews Kill, a podcast about fantasy, science fiction, and horror novels. I'm Evan.
And I'm Chad.
And today you're listening to our recap of episode 2 of The House of the Dragon.
Okay, right off the bat, I got my cool intro. And was it? Okay, I'm like so impressed because it was not only dope, but their presentation. They knew that not having one in the first episode would like piss everybody off and be like, we knew it. They couldn't do better. And they're like, actually, gotcha. They pulled one on me. It was like, I loved it.
Right. I mean, like they had to go into the first episode just, doing the whole Fellowship of the Ring thing where they had to explain the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And we just took off from there. And I bet people throughout the whole episode were like, wait a minute, why didn't we have an intro?
Oh, and they knew it too. And then they were like, we actually got something dope. They're just going to think that we didn't rise to the occasion, but we actually did. And it was so cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
It wasn't particles or cogs. It was really good.
We're gushing again. Here we go.
Dude,
Here we go, gushing.
Just straight blood.
Yeah.
And it was like going into the well at the end. It was like, I was like, yes. I was like, ah. If it like gets me stoked on almost standing up by the time it's done, it's like, good job, intro.
I liked this episode even more than the first one.
I think I did too.
Yeah. Man.
Okay, what was your favorite part?
Rhaenyra riding Cyrax through the clouds.
Of
when
course.
the clouds like ripple
Me too.
and she comes up. Just the way that like the dragon settles like on that, you know what I mean? It's just like
pure power and
right, yeah. And she's like riding it like a boss.
Oh,
and
just so badass.
She just slips off, walks through this giant crowd of men and just like stands right in front
armor.
of her brother, like a foot shorter than Daemon. And then she basically just calls him out, calls his bluff and says, all right, so you're just gonna have to kill me then. So go for it.
Right. Yeah.
And
here's the end of your game. This is where the end of it is.
And I really like that they made sure to add in that scene where Daemon is talking to Corlys, and Daemon said Corlys says something about
at the very
Viserys.
end.
Yeah, like Corlys says something about Viserys, and Daemon turns to him and says, "I will speak of my brother as I wish. You will not."
Yeah, because they're all very protective of each other, even though they are kind of like at each other's throats.
Yeah, it's almost like because like the Lannisters are I keep making these comparisons between the Targaryens and Lannisters, because the Lannisters are kind of like the Game of Thrones Targaryens, or at least that's like it seems like that's what at least
but the psycho versions.
Well, I think the Targaryens are the psycho versions.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean,
the Lannisters are like diet Targaryens,
diet Targaryen.
Because with the Lannisters, I felt like it was they were a lot more approachable, at least when you compare them to they were more interested in like intermingling with all the other houses and stuff. They stood apart to a degree, but not the same as the Targaryens. Like the Targaryens like basically think they're gods.
They have dragons in their cradles.
Yeah.
Like holy shit. I just loved Daemon coming out onto the bridge, just like holding a dragon egg, like tossing it back and forth in his hands. Just
And his wife wasn't even pregnant.
She's not even his wife.
Yeah. He's just like, yeah, you can have it back.
God.
I'm just trying to stir shit up.
Yeah. What a great setting, though. Like on the bridge with the cloud. You're right. That was my favorite scene, too. I have a question for you about that, though. How far away is Dragon's Rock? Dragonstone, thank you, from King's Landing, because it seems like just outside the city walls, but I always thought it was like a couple days.
It's not right outside the city walls, but it's fairly close.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like I don't know, probably like a day sailing away or something. Okay.
They were like walking across the bridge and there was like a big wall behind them, and I was like, is that the city wall right behind them? Like,
no, Dragonstone is an island.
Yeah, I know, but there was like a wall on the side.
I see what you're saying.
Other side came from.
Okay, yeah. It's like it's right over there.
Okay. But yeah, it just seemed like real close. I was like, what?
Do you think that Viserys is gonna die by the end of this season?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too.
For sure. Okay. I kind of got to give you a hard time a little bit, because there were so many times that I was like, this is your favorite character, Evan? This is your favorite character, Evan?
I mean, not anymore. I think Rhaenyra is my favorite character now.
Yeah.
After that,
I want to disagree with you and say that Daemon is still my favorite, but he got straight put in his place by Rhaenyra. She just walked up and was like, nah.
Yeah, I like Daemon a lot. Like, there's this interview with Matt Smith where he says something like, when a Targaryen is born, a coin is flipped. One side is greatness and the other is madness. And Daemon's is still in the air. He's very unpredictable. Yeah. Matt Smith is crushing it
He
as
is
Damon. He's
crushing
doing
it.
you can he's having a blast with this. He's getting so into the character. The way he like just turns around and throws the egg back at her, you know? It had like this playful kind of flair to it.
Yeah, like you
You
kind
know?
of like Loki-ish. Like you caught me in my own
Yeah.
little games, you know. It's
Yeah.
like he's weaving machinations, you know. It's just such a good second episode.
But I mean, I know what you mean about Viserys, though. I mean, like, I still think that the guy that's playing him is doing a really excellent job. Like
Yes.
the conversation between Viserys and Daemon in the throne room, was really intense. They were both making pretty good points. Daemon kind of gives me like Theon Greyjoy kind of vibes. You know, it's like this is like
okay.
it's like a reaction to a lot of things. And he's not just like this crazy guy that
Right.
he's not like Ramsay Bolton or anything like that.
I don't even think he wants to be king.
No, I think he wants Viserys' respect. And I think
Yes.
he knows he doesn't have it. And he can't, I don't think he, and I mean, I'm sure it's more complicated than that, but
Yeah.
it's like Viserys is dealing with a lot. Yeah, Viserys choosing to marry Alicent, he ruins his relationship with his daughter, ruins his daughter's relationship with her best friend, and allies Corlys with his brother all in one decision.
Dude,
And
it's like
just
such a bad move. And it's like she
yeah,
just made amends with his daughter before. I yelled at the computer right
yeah,
before it happened because she was like, and I've decided I'm going to marry. And then I was like, destroying everything that you just accomplished, her BFF, the one person you. And then he did it. And I was
right.
like,
I
of
know.
course he
But
did.
I mean, okay,
And then I was like,
this
Evan.
I understand. Okay, here's what I'm going to say though. Obviously, aligning with is it Valyrian? Is that it's Corlys Valyrian? That's the other
Yeah, it's
house,
Corlys
right?
Valyrian. Uh-huh.
Okay, so aligning with the Valyrians, who are a
The
very
master of
very
ships.
powerful family, right? Obviously, good idea. Obviously,
For
um,
sure.
bad idea to have him be an enemy. Totally.
Yeah.
But like marrying a high tower is not that bad either,
Oh,
obviously. I
no.
mean, like the high towers are a pretty big house right now. It's his hand. It all
Right.
kind of lines up. It's just not as good of a decision and the consequences of it.
Oh, interpersonally.
But why did he do it? That's the question. Like,
Oh, he's into her.
well, and he didn't want to marry a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah, that was
Like,
pretty
which
nuts.
also, like, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, I get that. I was like, please say no to this. Please say no
right,
to this.
exactly. So it's such a perfectly executed like situation.
Mhm.
It's like there's so many right answers, there's so many wrong answers. Each choice that he would have made would have been terrible.
Yeah. Okay, Allison seems a little too like perfect. What are your thoughts on her and her where's she at in her brain? Is she like I'm conniving to take over power or is she truly just the
She kind of
best?
gives me like Marjorie Tyrell vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Playing
like
that
much
long game.
right, yeah, like very smart. When her dad is kind of like go comfort the king. She's not like what do you mean like I don't want to do that or anything
Yeah,
like that.
she's like, I got you.
Yeah, right. She's just like, yeah, okay.
She's like, I'll even go buy him a dragon Lego.
Dragon
Because
Lego.
he broke one earlier. Which
Uh,
at first I was like so cool, like his little thing that he's got set up, and then he was like, actually, the stonemasons do all the molding. I just put them together. I'm like, oh, so you're playing with Legos, cool.
yeah, I know. I wonder why they added that in
To
to
make
make
him
him
seem like a
seem
doddering old fool.
right. Yeah.
Like
Oh,
playing with his
speaking of,
trains.
there's a lot to unpack with Viserys for sure. I mean, obviously he is dying of dragon rot, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they had to stick his hand into the maggots and stuff.
Oh boy,
And it
that was
was,
rough.
yeah, that
Not
was
as rough as the crabs
weird.
though. Woo.
Okay, let's talk about the crabs.
That's crab, dude.
Can we? God, like
Whoa,
fucking,
man.
they are
I was
just
like,
not
what a
even.
cool intro, just basking in it.
Man, they really have the violence and butchery really turned up all the way to 10 for this season. Wow.
The
Like,
screaming.
yeah, like, and I like how it didn't really show much of anything with
Yeah.
that. It's just like, don't forget this is happening.
Right. It was
You
like the
know?
lingerie of violence. You're just like,
Yeah,
oh.
the lingerie of
Leave so
violence.
much to the imagination. Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I want to see, at least in this season, if not the next episode, but I think we'll have to wait just a second. But
Okay.
we need to see a dragon fight.
Yeah. We need to see a dragon fight. I knew we weren't going to get one there. Okay, so I
Probably a
was
few
thinking,
episodes.
yeah, probably a few episodes. It'll be like after, I think maybe the third one will be kind of boring, or the fourth one. There'll be like one that's kind of boring in the next few. And then the one after that, we'll have a dragon fight. But I was thinking, training a dragon, it's not really all about training them like how to fight because like they're basically nukes. Like they got this, no problem. It's really teaching them like they're like a comedian, like timing. Like right when your opponent's like, well, I'm kind of intimidated. I don't know if I should acquiesce. Drago needs to like peek his head over the wall and like give a menacing growl, and then the other person's like, "Oh, you're sure," just like what happened on the
That's
bridge.
exactly what happened. Yeah, I mean, because the like Otto Hightower was so confident. He's just like, "Look, there's no way you're going to beat us. Like we are the king's own. We're
Right,
here
we
to
have
take like
ICBMs,
yeah,
man.
like there are some gold cloaks here, but we're
Oh,
totally equipped to deal with this situation right now." And then the dragon's just like, "Dragon," and they're just like, "All right, let's go. Let's leave." There's no
yeah,
conversation, no
yeah. He's
further
just like,
like
put your steels away.
yeah,
And then how's it matched? Another dragon with
right.
perfect timing.
Yeah, you're right.
I loved it. So cool.
Yeah, speaking of that, I mean, obviously the scene that we're talking about is like the most important scene in this episode. And speaking of that
Hmm.
scene, I loved when they introduced Sir Kristen, and Damon is like, "Oh, I don't remember you," and Kristen says, "Perhaps His Majesty remembers when I knocked him off his horse." It's so cool. And even Damon like kind of smiled, and he's just like, "Ah,
Yeah.
yeah."
Which again, why is Damon's on the top shelf of my character list? Because
He's
he's just
complicated.
conniving. And when he's caught in his little games, he's like, "Oh, you've got me," and he scurries off to another.
I think this show has a really nice pace to it. It's kind of reminding me of how much like season 1 and 2 of Game of Thrones like kind of took their time with stuff. They let a lot of
Hmm.
scenes breathe. I felt like the pacing for the show for the 8 seasons of Game of Thrones that we got, it really started turning up and things started moving a lot quicker. But with this, it's like they're kind of going back to their roots a little bit.
Hmm.
Because I'm just feeling like that kind of we're setting everything up, we're taking our time, we're introducing these characters. We're not just gonna throw a bunch of crazy stuff in your face
Right.
like
We're gonna make
immediately.
you love them first, then we'll
Right.
kill them all.
And then we could murder everybody.
Yeah. By crab death.
Crab death.
Dude, I was like literally yelling at the council. I was like, "You have dragons." Then Rhaenyra was like, "You know, you have dragons." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, yes." Like, I wonder what would kill the crab guy. I don't know, a couple passes with fire breathing death from the sky. Yeah, I was pretty. Viserys is definitely going to die. He was just getting
Yeah.
pushed around by everybody. The hand, man, he's playing the actor is playing it well, but I hate him.
Yeah. Yeah. Otto Hightower is yeah, we need to keep an eye on him for sure.
Yeah. Maybe you can clear this up. Is it like an heir's duty to pick the King's Guard? Is that like what they do? Or because why was she the ultimate
No,
decision
because
maker there?
so I think what happened was that they were in the small council, they were trying to figure something out, and then I think it's when Rhaenyra says, "We have dragons, right? Like, let's go figure this out,"
Right.
And then Corlys is kind of like, "Oh, well, at least somebody's making sense here on the," and kind of like undermines Viserys is like kind of like authority, and
Mm-hmm.
then so that's when Viserys is like, "Go pick out the
Mm,
next King's or White Cloak." I don't think it was any kind of like it was about time for her to go do that because that was what she's supposed to do. I think that they were trying to get her out of the room, you
totally.
know.
You're right.
And she did
I
a really
just
good job
miss.
because she was like,
Yeah.
"Which one of these people have had combat experience?" And they're just like, "Well, this house would be really good to align with." And she's like, "No, no,
This
no, I
guy's
don't
got a
care about that.
poacher.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I need people here that actually know what they're doing. Obviously, that's what their whole job is." Yeah, she's the best.
She is
She's
the best.
easily the best.
Yeah. When made her pick and he like looks up at her with like handsome locks hanging between his helm where you're like, they're hooking up.
I know. I kind of got that vibe too.
Totally.
He's a pretty man.
He was
Kristen.
a pretty
Yeah, he's
man,
very
yeah.
pretty man. He's
Yeah, he
Dornish.
fills out that armor.
That's a Dornish man, dude.
We haven't seen a
Like,
Northman yet.
we did see Rickard Stark when they were
Oh.
swearing fealty to her in the end of the first episode. That was
Hmm.
a very quick thing.
How much time passes between the first episode and the first one? Because like
I think
everyone's
six
trying.
months.
Really? Okay, because like everyone's trying to get him to marry, and I was like, dude, his wife just died. Like, give him a break. But apparently, some time went by.
And it made me wonder, like, are they going to do 6 months between every episode? Because that'd be super interesting.
That would be super interesting. We're gonna clip through time.
But then I guess you'd have, if we had 10 episodes, it'd be 5 years later, and you'd have, like, I mean, everyone would still
Yeah,
look the same. So I don't think he can do that.
Okay, when Damon goes to Dragonstone and they're like he's surrounded by his gold cloaks, it's like, did he take the King's Landing City Watch with him to
Yeah,
Dragonstone? Like he
he's
just
in
left
charge of
the
them.
yeah, he just took him. Like,
Yeah.
and they'll do fine without police for a little while. Even though I just like,
I don't think he took all of them, but he took
okay,
like a good amount of them. They're loyal to him.
just made me laugh. I was like, I love when the king's being told by like the only reasonable person in his council who's not like angling for his own benefit, like you should definitely go check out this steps problem that you've got going on. He's like, I will send 10 boys to check it out. Like, what? You're sending
Yeah,
10 boys to check it
Viserys
out?
is
Like,
just not really that great of a
no.
king. But I mean,
He's kind of a weak.
I know I'm just gonna keep defending him, but
Some one of us needs to.
right. But I mean, it makes sense that he would be the way he is because of how much peace there has been.
Yeah.
It's been a
He's
pretty
not a
long
hard
time.
dude.
It's been 70 years. I mean, like there
Totally.
hasn't been any real need for him to be ruthless. I mean, he is a
Mm-hmm.
Targaryen. And it kind of pokes out now and then, obviously. Like he's still got
Mm-hmm.
some fire to him.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense that like if you're a king in peacetime, like why rock the boat if you don't
Right.
need to? And to him, it's like
Gotten him by.
got some people on the sand steps, but like obviously, Corlys is upset about it, but it's because he's, the master of ships. Like, of course he'd be upset about it. He's
Right.
probably overreacting, or I can see why he would
The
start
crabs are his
rationalizing things.
domain.
Yeah, like he's rationalizing stuff. He's trying to make, he's like, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe I don't need to remarry, but of course he knows that he obviously does, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of, I don't know. I was hesitant to say this because I haven't thought about it enough to really back it up, but Viserys is giving me kind of Ned Stark vibes,
Really?
just,
Oh
I mean,
no,
just
like
in the
maybe like
sense,
idiot Ned Stark.
well, I mean, Ned Stark's kind of an idiot,
Yeah, but no, Ned Stark was tough.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm not
He
saying
lived
that they're
by a
I'm not
code.
saying they're the exact same character. I'm just saying like the idea of kind of like doing the right thing even though it's going to be disastrous. Like that was kind of like Ned Stark's downfall, right? It was kind of like
Yeah, I don't
um
think the king's doing like the right thing. He's like
no,
selfishly trying to.
well, I
Maybe I'm
mean, it
missing what you're
makes I
saying.
think what he thought was the right thing would be to not marry a 12-year-old,
I mean, yeah,
right?
and that is the right move for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. He does think he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, and it's going to be his own undoing, like with Ned
Totally.
Stark. Ned Stark is a much more extreme example of it. He was so honor bound that it, killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler for
Yeah.
season 1 of Game of Thrones.
If you haven't watched that already. But I mean, the king takes it so personally. Corlys is like, yo, you should really crush the upstart before they become a problem. And you totally can, and you totally should. And his response is like, you think I'm doing a bad job as a king? It's like, dude, no.
Like now we do.
Yeah, now we do. Like, I'm just saying, you have like a bunch of dragons, and you should just go fire this guy up next time he's staking your men and your villagers to the poles to be eaten by the crabs. They would probably appreciate a fiery death as opposed to a crabby one.
Crabby death.
Oh, dude, brutal.
Yeah, no, now like crabs creep me out.
Yeah,
Thanks.
now, yeah,
I mean, they
thanks.
kind of did before anyway. Crabs are
Really?
weird.
Oh, they're delicious. I'm
They're,
Jewish. I shouldn't even be eating them.
they're bugs.
They are. They're
They're
like bugs of the
bugs.
ocean. Yeah.
Like lobsters are bugs.
Yeah. You have to even like boil them, or else
Yeah.
their meat is like slimy. They're bottom feeders too. They're like trash. They're a trash animal.
I have a question. So, we're going to start wrapping up here because these are little bite-sized episodes. But I mean, do you think that the king is actually going to marry Alicent?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, I think he
Really?
does.
Okay. I don't
I think he
know.
will right before he dies.
Okay. Oh yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah. I mean, do you think
Because
that
I think,
Alicent is going to be? Do you think that Alicent is going to become like a much bigger player here?
oh yeah,
Okay. Interesting.
I
Okay.
think she's
Yeah.
gonna get a lot of power and try to like work herself into like a regent type role.
I guess she would be able to be, especially if she had an heir
Yeah,
by that time.
but I mean, the king has like officially, publicly named Rhaenyra his heir, and everyone has sworn their fealty to him. In fact, his rush to get married, I was kind of like, dude, you already solved the problem, man. Like, stand by it. Like, everyone already
Right.
sworn fealty.
Yeah.
Like, what problem do you think you're solving? Like, no one's rioting in the streets right now. Not that I'm hearing
No, but I
about.
think that like that's why that conversation between Rhaenyra and her aunt. Is it her aunt? Corley's wife.
Yeah, the
her
queen
name
that
is
never
her name
was
is
or
just
whatever.
totally escaping me. Everybody's names sound kind of similar.
I wrote a
Um,
dramatis persona. You want me to send it to you?
yeah, that'd be
This
awesome.
helps me a
Yeah.
lot.
But I think that was like the point of that conversation was like, yeah, you are the heir, but through all the evidence of history we've got, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
people aren't mad at this exact instant, but as if the king does die, people they're gonna faction off. There's gonna be people that want Damon, or there's gonna be people that are cool with Rhaenyra, but it's not gonna be like this easy succession thing.
Right.
You know?
Everyone's not going to be like, cool, you're king now. They're like, I don't know. Still, I wish the king would have stood by his decision and like not like rushed to get married because reasons. Because he needs to fix the problem that he already fixed. I was like, come
But he's
on,
not
man.
rushing. It's been months. You
I mean,
know, I mean,
6 months is like not very much time.
well, it is a long time for a king, like because like succession in a like a feudalist kind of like monarchy like this is really, really
Totally, but
important.
he already
Like
fixed the problem, right? Like, I don't get it.
he didn't though. I mean, because like like there's a pretense. You know what I mean? There's like
But you think so? He's planning to take the airness away from her?
I think that he was doing it because he didn't want Damon, and it made the most sense.
Hmm.
But he
Okay, like
wouldn't
he
be
thought Damon would be able to usurp his way in there if he had a baby or something.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a good question, but like, I mean, it didn't. It's never felt like it was real the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. And his reasoning was like kind of spiteful too, right? Like it was
Maybe it
not
was to
really like
like.
you're so great, Rhaenyra. It was like you're not getting this, Damon.
Well, I mean, he has that conversation with Rhaenyra, where he really does seem to really believe that she would be a good ruler.
Was that him just convincing himself that he's
I
making the
don't
right
know. I
decision?
don't
I don't
know.
know.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch some more
I don't
episodes.
know. I am so excited. And what happens at the end of this week? Tomorrow. The
Oh,
Rings of
Rings of Power,
Power.
man. I hope it.
You want to tell everyone what we're doing about that as well?
I mentioned it in the Discord, but yeah, we are doing Rings of Power episodes as well on Friday mornings,
Yeah,
because we're just doing it now. We just
dude, we are smashing and banging. If you, whatever platform you're listening to it on, press star, the plus sign or the thumbs up or whatever that platform's version of following is, because we're gonna do at least three, our usual three and some every week for everyone. We got some content coming. So
yeah, it's funny.
follow.
I just read like I'm in the podcasting subreddit every now and then, and somebody was like, scarcity creates value. You only want to put out a couple episodes a month so that people are really excited for your episodes. And I was like,
Mm,
yeah, I mean, I guess I could see the value in that for sure.
like I'm not a diamond, bro.
But also, maybe there's like an opposite of that where it's like, okay, maybe if
What about
don't
scarcity of
like
money? Does that
like
create value?
don't put out too much. But what if we put out way too much? Like, what if we put out an episode a day for like 2 years?
I don't think anyone has failed because they produced too much of a good
I don't
thing,
know.
right? Like
Yeah,
that people were consuming. Like, I don't know. Like I see
I
what
don't
he's
care. I just
saying
like
in like a
making this.
supply demand curve, but like this isn't
Whatever. I
that.
don't care.
Like,
I just like I this is a passion of mine and I want to do it
me
as often
too.
as possible. And if people don't
Yeah.
want to listen because we put too much out, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have too many fun things to talk about with my best friend. I don't give a
Straight
shit.
up.
Like,
Sorry, I'm
whatever.
having too much fun over here
Yeah,
to
whatever.
care.
Don't care. Don't care. Anyway,
Dude,
let's
let's
do some
devalue ourselves again sometime really soon.
yeah, let's do like one maybe a final thought for each of us and then roll on out of here.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna make a prediction. Let's see what I want to predict
Okay,
about. I'm
cool.
gonna ask you first. Make a prediction about Damon.
About Damon?
Yeah.
I think that at some point in this show, he's going to have a kind of last attempt at doing this the diplomatic way. Because
Okay.
he's just that complicated and he's not stupid.
Oh, so you
Right?
think he will go to violence to
Oh,
try
yeah,
to get the throne?
absolutely. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I don't see
I don't
how
know.
this couldn't develop into violence.
Maybe. I don't really think he wants
you're
the
right.
throne.
You're right. I know. I just thought that right when you said it. It's like
He just
he's never
wants to
really
like get
said he
laid
wanted
because
it.
he's gonna be the heir.
like I said, I think that I mean, that conversation between him and his brother, like you can really tell, like he just wants to be involved,
Yeah.
like,
It
and
must be important.
he wants to, yeah, he wants, like he wanted to be the hand of the king. And you know what? It's kind
He's a
of
little
funny
salty.
because, I mean, he kind of gave me the impression that he figured that he was just like a shoe in for hand of the king because he was Viserys' brother.
Totally.
And it really kind of like betrays a lot of his own ignorance about how this all works, right? I mean, aligning with the Hightowers makes way more sense than having your brother be the hand. Like, it's not as you have to diversify your relationships in a situation like this. You know,
Totally. He's just a
so
Targaryen, and he's like, "We're special. Why would you not do this for me? Like that stuff doesn't
yeah.
matter."
What about you?
um. Okay. Before I hit that, I just want to make one little like what while she's choosing the new Kingsguard, they're like moving plinths around on like this
Yeah,
big like chessboard looking thing. That was like a really weird like
I don't know what
physical
that was.
representation of like the characters at play here. Because
Yeah,
she
I
was
don't know
like, "Who's this
why.
person?" They like moved a plinth in front of her. It was like this person moves into play. Just like remind me of a chessboard kind of. It was weird.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll bring that back in. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't know. Um, okay, let's see. Who do you want me to make a prediction about?
Oh, that's a fun way to do it.
Yeah, right.
Okay. What do you think is going to happen with Corlys and Daemon?
Oh, okay. So I think that Corlys is going to try to convince him to go full on rebel style. And he's
Okay.
going to follow along with it for a little while because that's like kind of his mood right now. And it's going to get right up to the point where he has to actually betray his brother. He's not going to do it. But this is also going to be right before his brother dies. And then, like, his sister and him are going to bond together and, like, oh, our brother's dead, the king. Now we must bond together and make me queen Targaryen, and then they're going to rule and power, and he's going to be like always kind of salty, but like not ever get the throne and still be on her side and never actually
Hmm.
betray his brother.
You don't think he's actually going to betray his brother? That's
I
interesting.
mean, in little ways he will, but I don't
I
think he'll
figured it
ever
was
like
like a
try to poison
given.
him.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, yeah. That's a good prediction. I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe we'll both be wrong. Maybe we'll be halfway right. Who knows? But
I always like
until
listening
then,
back to the old ones and being like, "Oh, we got that right," or "Oh, we
yeah.
got that wrong."
Well, until then, everybody, thank you so much for listening to this little bite-sized episode for House of the Dragon. This is going out not on a Monday morning like we wanted it to, but the next episode, episode 3, will be out Monday morning along with the Monday Morning Minute. So look forward to that.
And the Rings of Power, which will be coming out tomorrow, which will have sometime probably mid next week coming out. I would think our first
No,
episode.
we're putting that out Friday morning.
Oh, well, that'll be out Friday
Oh, that's
morning
going
then.
out.
Wow.
I'll stay
We're
up all night
editing
editing
one
that.
and wow.
Yeah, we're doing it. Oh, I want everybody to be able to listen to the Rings of Power episode the morning after it releases right here on Book Reviews Kill. We are your spot, people.
Man,
this is the
we are
spot.
just cranking, bro. And as always, you know where to find our Patreon.
Of course. And until the next episode, everybody, thank you so much for listening. And of course, happy reading.
Bye, everybody.